You'd be abandoned. What do you mean after 13 minutes I leave? You guys have something you need to talk about? You want to talk about how that makes you feel? You guys are so ready to be like, they'll never, this is it. I'll never see them again. Archie's, oh, you guys are playing all the fun board games without me. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right. I'm trying, oh wait, let me grab the music, right? Oh, Xbox has an update. Maybe that's the issue. Okay, you hit that update, Xbox app, and we'll see. We'll see. See if you can work it out. I love cheese, dude. All right, let me get in. Also, oh, it's so loud for me. My headset is working again. I don't know why it fucking stopped. Okay, Little Nightmares, come on. Oh, let's go. Okay, I think it was the dog shit update. It was not showing it until I restarted. Also, this is the second time today that I've been fucked by an update. Earlier, I was playing Battlegrounds, Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and mid-game, it closed my game and went, there's an update. Update right fucking now. And I was like, bro, you couldn't, what do you do? You're kicking me out of the game? And you don't even get a chance to do anything? Super fucked up. I was pissed. I was so mad. I think I got back in on time, but I was like, bruh, are you fucking kidding me, dude? You kidding me? Also, let me get my raincoat on. Perfect. Alright. I have to get small in the corner. Oh! No one saw that. No one saw that. Nothing to be seen here. I think if I'm like over here-ish. Oh, that's too far. Hold on. Sorry, I need to get better at the moving. I'm bad at moving. I don't know how to move in this economy. Alright, I think here, maybe? Maybe here? Alright, this looks good. Alright, thank you for your patience. We're finally ready to play this damn game. I'm moving us around a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. Okay, the ad break is going, so let me just move us over it in that time. Alright, I'm going to close out of the spooky Nintendo music. Alright, thanks. Congrats everyone for sticking through me while we dealt with this bullshit. Thank you for your guys' patience. It's always something with us, I swear. Like, oh, it's just bad luck, honestly, is what it feels like 90% of the time. I hate it. Alright. Resume game. I think we just got out of the school, right? Yeah. We're in this, like, back alley. Oh, and she just got her raincoat, which is kind of fucking big. Oh yeah, give me uppies. I forget she does that. Push this, maybe? No. No pushing. Only climbing. Okay. Yo, my hat. I just fucking leave her. Bye, bitch. Ugh, I'm so big and strong. Well, I mean, I'm not big, but I am strong. Help! Help! Not strong enough to get this on my own, though. Oh, there we go. Let me in. There's a lot of venting in this game. Like, I feel like we're an Among Us character. So much venting. Also, thanks for the check-ins, the double check-ins. Cheaters. You're checked in. Extra, you're present. Not this way. Are we just breaking in? Oh, now we got out of school, I think. Sorry. I did just triple check-ins. Yeah, probably. You guys probably snuck one in while I was suffering. Triple checked and ready to go in the luggage like a laptop. 3 streams in one day. Wild, I know. Actually, I'm considering maybe doing... We'll see. No promises, I'm still working it out. So this is all hypothetical. But I'm considering starting to do like a 2 streams a day, maybe? And more often throughout the week. We'll see. That is schedule change. So, oh my god! Pull me up! What the fuck? Okay, I see the pathing. Yeah. Yeah, and then up, and then back, and then on to the bed sheet. Yeah, more hang time, exactly. 2 chances to scuff, oh, fuck! I swear that was... Oopsies. Also, are we like in an office? Or are we back in the school? Because Brother, I thought I had the angle right that fucking time, dude. Ugh. Okay, maybe like in the middle? Okay, there we go. Up. Jump. Up. Okay, don't fall off the edge. There we go. Rainbow Mania. Oh no. Bro, we should be controlling the raincoat character. I've got my coat on and everything. Alright. Ooh, a button. I love pressing buttons. Oh, steal. Oh, we stole it. It's like the reactor core from fucking, what is it? Oh, the spooky game. Content warning. When you take it out and then all the electricity goes off and then things start going crazy. Ah, in the elevator. Oh, she's leaving without me. That was fucking close, dude. Way too close. I was sweating. There's like light nowhere in this game, so I'm sure this character's been living in the dark their whole life. Oh, a light, a flashlight. I don't mind if I do. Oh my god. Also, I'm sure there's so many other hats we've missed, but like, I don't know. I don't want to be like jumping around every single part of the map to be like, is that a hat? Is that a hat? Is that a hat over there? Oh, hey, what up, Biddy? We've collected a lot of these guys, though. And these feel important. This feels very German. I agree. This does feel very German. Very, like, is Germany Eastern Europe? I don't know. Germany and the surrounding... I'm sorry. Geography's like... Well, I feel like they'd be Western Europe, right? I don't really know what's considered... Are they Central? I don't know where Europe, like, divvies up their East-West. I feel like would not be Eastern, right? But I do feel like this is similar to... This feels very German and related to, like, German surrounding countries. There's just the vibes about it. Especially because, what's, like, the biggest... The Grimm's brother tales or whatever are German, right? If I remember correctly. And this feels reminiscent of that in some ways. But also, I say that, but also at the end of 1, they had Japanese folklore, so... Just because the game is depressing, sad, humorless, creepy. Wait, why was I describing Germany? No, I think you're describing the UK, dude. Man, I really thought it was a meme that the UK gets no sun until I saw people like on social media from the UK be like, oh my god, wait, where's our friend? Where the fuck is our friend at? Until people are like, oh my god, it's slightly warm outside. And it's, you know, even though the sun's not out and there's clouds. What a nice day! And I was like, bro, that's an overcast day here. What do you guys mean that's a nice day there? Not the witch! No! Just the country itself. West was west of Berlin Wall, and East Bloc Europe was everything else on the other side. Okay, maybe. My thing why I say that I, like, don't know is because... Oh, we're going into Twilight Zone. Is because, like... What if you were to say Western U.S., like, the way that the U.S. divides up into West and East, it does not make sense, right? So I'm not sure if other places, like Europe, also is fucking weird about it, is basically what I'm getting at. Sorry, I gotta lock in, dude. I can never tell if I'm doing this right or not. Oh, that's it. There we go. Yeah, so I'm like, what's the division, you know, for Europe compared to the US? This feels like when you're running in a dream. Like, no, I'm running so fast, but I just can't make it. I'm almost there. They always grab me. But I don't know if it's a good thing or not. Also, are these real people or are these fucking fake? Dude, the amount of, like, playing this game and being like, I don't know what's fake and what's not here is fucking creepy. Yo, put me in the X-ray machine! Hit it! Yo! Look at me! Yo, look at this! We can hold hands! Can we hold hands? Oh, we can hold hands! Oh, in the X-ray, so cute. So cute. I've seen everything I need to see. Yes, spooky, scary skeletons. What a good song. What a good Halloween song. Okay, within the bear is... Wait, you're just grabbing that giraffe? Yeah, you can take that. The key is in the bear. Oh. I saw it. I saw it. Oh. It's almost time for the Monster Mash. It is. It was a graveyard smash. Dracula and his son. Is that what it is? Oh, I'd love the Monster Mash objectively as a song. Okay, well... Jesus. Portugal, the man. Okay, we need a key and 2 thingamajigs. Also, hi, Lindo! Welcome, welcome. Howdy. I hope you're doing well. Hello, hello. Eastern Europe is anything right from Germany and Austria. West is Germany to France. Northern is Finland, Sweden, Norway. And southern is Italy, Spain, Portugal, and Greece. I see. Okay, we have none of these little things we need. We need some of the reactors. We need a key. And... I don't think I can hit this yet. I think we need the reactors. Yes, okay. But what is the UK after Brexit? Alone. Sad. Bro, you dropped that toy right in front of the stairs. I'm tripping on it. Okay, I think we can go in here, maybe? UK is me for real, for real. Yeah, that's a vibe, dude. Nothing over here. Oh no. I don't like the way this looks. Okay, we're gonna put some shit in there, I guess. Alright. We are going to incinerate something. I don't know what it will be, but maybe this hook. Can't pick that up. Maybe this. I can't see shit in there. I feel like I have to bring something down, maybe? I'm doing pretty good, Linda. Thanks for asking. How's it going? I hope your day's going well. Also, hi, Juliana. Welcome on in. Howdy, howdy. I hope you're also doing swell. I hope the day has treated everyone well so far, or is off to a good start if you're in early time zone. Okay, we have... Ooh, can I pull? That one looks like it has a reactor, but I don't think I can pull it. Oh, the bear has to go downstairs, I think. And I put the bear in the incinerator and then I get the key. It's so big compared to me. It's so cute. Bro, me with my giant ray. I don't know if I've told you all this, but I have a giant stingray. Stuffed stingray. Named Raekwon. What are you doing over here, dude? Why do you keep taking these? They keep grabbing these toys and we don't need them. It's so funny. Oh, okay. Maybe the bear can't come down then. Can they, like, rip the other side off? Thanks for the head pats. I need to add the little head pat redeem. I haven't done it yet. Now that I've gotten some of the interaction ones worked out. I need to add that one. The bunny? We know it's not the bunny. Oh, I just fucking hit him with that. Whoops. Is there anything in the cabinets, maybe? No. Oh, do I have to put the bear in front of the X-ray first? So I can see? Or maybe it's not in the bear. Maybe it's in one of the other ones. Eat the crayon. Shax, dude. Tight move. Tight move. Well, I'm glad you like my voice. Thanks. It's always funny when people say that, because I'm like, I don't know. I used to really not be a big fan. I feel like everyone kind of struggles with liking the way your voice sounds when you hear it, right? Alright. No key in there. It kind of looks like there's something in the toy she has, but I think it might just be like the noise maker or whatever. Yeah, dude, why are the Marines crayon eaters? Just because they're like supposed to be dumb, right? Which I feel like is not necessarily, obviously, you know, stereotypes and whatnot, but... Yo, that guy stood up on his own, kind of. Don't think either of them have the key. Oh, whoa, the physics! This game has wild physics sometimes. It's so funny. Okay, of course it's the one on the far end. Also, is that a hole in the wall? Is it the Marines who's Semper Fi? Is that what it is? I can never remember. No, jump! Turn! Jump! There you go. Ah, that one has the key. Okay. I thought it was just gonna be the bear because... No, I don't want that one. No, I don't want that one. Because the poster on the wall, as you can see on the left there, it shows the bear. Semper Fidelis. Semper. Yeah, that is true, I guess. They all do put each other down, yeah. That is big true, which is, like, not surprising at all. There we go, okay. Now we can put it in the incinerator. Then we grab the key. Alright. Time to burn this little creepy-looking rabbit. No, I don't need to go in there. Oh, and the second one. I guess there's something in hers, too. Maybe I wanted the thingamajigs? The cores or whatever? Let me in. No, she just burned that to burn that. She's just fucking crazy, dude. She just burned that toy for fun. I grabbed mine because it had a key we need. She just went, nah, throw that bitch in. I want to see it burn. Green veggie crayons. Ooh, raw. Oh, the nerves. Alright, upstairs key, I think. I still can't believe she just threw that duck in. Just to throw that duck in. I don't trust her. She's kind of wild. She also bashed that child's skull in. No problem. Like, I needed a hammer, she just went ham with her hands. Alright, what's in door number 1? You telling me you want roast duck? No! I've never eaten duck. And I really don't plan to. I don't know, I get kind of weird about eating, like, things that aren't super commonly eaten, is the best way to say it. I have a lot of feelings about stuff like that. And so I get kind of weird about it, to be honest. Oh, is she gonna boost me? Oh, yo, you gonna give me uppies? Yo, let's go! I think I'm gonna have to put a head on that guy. No. Bruh. Absolutely not. How do I get out of this room? Let me out! Ugh. Don't I eat 75% salt? What the fuck? Where are you getting that stat from? Yeah, puppets are big yucky. No thankies. I hate it. Okay, just run. Oh, I'd fucking get juked, bitch. No, it's a climb up. It's not a crouch down. Fuck. Taco Bell. Taco Bell is not 75% sawdust. Y'all are wildin'. Actually, I think Taco Bell changed their menu because the whole thing was just them being like, well, there's other shit in the beef because, like, that's just the way that, like, fast food filler kind of works. Oh god. Where am I going with this? Oh, I gotta climb the grate. I got it. Oh! Why do I have a Paddington hat? It's just a raincoat. It's a rain hat. No, leave me alone. Are you kidding me? It got me as I was crawling through. That's such bullshit. Go. I hate that hand. Fuck that hand, dude. Oh, hold on. I'm trying to read chat. Sorry, y'all. I'm kind of locked. Get juked, you fucking dick sucker. Ha, my favorite. Give me your hand. Come here. You done moving? You done? Alright, I think we're good. Oh, by the way, for people in the US, I think McDonald's is doing the Monopoly thing. I've heard it's really good for free food. So if you like McDonald's and you like free food, I think you can like participate without even buying anything. So like if that's that you know that might save some people some money, so might be worth looking into. I know a few people I know are like, oh, I already got like 2 free things, and that was like the first day it started, I think. That's an OSHA violation. Don't worry. Oh, I need the hammer. I need the hammer to break the glass. Oh yeah, fast food's gone way downhill size-wise. Also, yeah, I think 72% light on this audience. You guys are ridiculous. I think though what it was for Taco Bell was like, I think they used maybe a little bit of oatmeal, and then a lot of it was just like other shit that like is just fucking cunt. Not what I wanted to do. No, fucking don't throw it that way. Throw it through the fucking door. No, I don't want that. I think it was just fillers though, is what it is. Which, like, if you're going to Taco Bell and you're expecting the 100% all-natural, best quality beef, you are going to be disappointed. Hey, old girl, what you doing with those hands, hey? I don't trust her. She's suspicious. She's suspicious. Yeah, generic food filler, exactly. Actually, though, I will say, as much as it sucks that Taco Bell's known for that, apparently after all that happened, they worked to, like, they changed a lot of their ingredients. I actually think Taco Bell is one of the better fast food places to eat from, because they, like, made an initiative to be like, oh, we want to provide more vegetarian options, and we want more fresh options. I think even, like, they have a thing where they were like, we want to reduce the amount of, like, packaging that we have that can't be recycled. So they've like done all of that in like the last 5 to 10 years, and it's like really been a commitment for them. So I'm like, you know what, big respect, you know, because a lot of fast food places are just like, yeah, fuck you guys, we hate you, keep eating our food though. So I was like, you know what, good for them. Yeah, they really stepped up ingredients wise. And then like I said, I know part of it was, I think like not fast food, part of it was vegetarian vegan options, uppies, and then yeah, the recycling thing, the waste. Oh no, dude. Oh no! You guys can't see it. I'm in the way. Do you see that guy? That guy's lurking in the corner. Sir, please, no. He's gonna be scary and he's gonna fucking move as soon as I turn off the light. I need to hold it long enough for him to get out of the door. No! God damn it. Dude, yeah, Wendy's is terrible. I don't know why people are such a big fan of Wendy's. They're expensive and their portion sizes have always been kind of small in my opinion, which isn't a big deal, you know, like when things are cheap. But like if I have to order 2 burgers to get like a normal size burger anywhere else. Ah, the flashlight, right. made a mistake. Fuck, dude. Okay, I gotta get him, like, way in the corner. But yeah, it's like, if I have to order 2 cheeseburgers to get the size of, like, a normal cheeseburger anywhere else, and they both cost the same as a normal cheeseburger everywhere else, like, nah. Come all the way in the corner. Let me through! No, let me through! Fuck! Alright, alright, alright. I let him get way too close. Fuck. God damn it. This is so difficult. I'm very struggling. This struggle is real. Big shrug. Alright, I can't let him get that close, I guess. Crawl through! Oh, fucking finally, dude. The angle, I think, on that one was killing me, too. Oh, there's so many of them. Thanks, I hate it. Let me in, let me in, let me in. Oh, one of them's going to move, but I don't know. Oh, I don't know which one it's gonna be. There it is. Fuck you, bitch. Oh, god damn it. Oh, okay, I made it. Just keep running, just keep running, just keep running. Woo! Fucking hell, dude. That was awful. That was awful. The mannequins are always the worst, in my opinion, in like a game. They're so spooky. Also, I feel like we definitely missed stuff in that area, but I just want out. I'm done. No, crawl in the vent. There we go. Okay. I can't believe I had to troubleshoot on stream for so long just to suffer. Yo, what's going on with this cheese? Yo, does anyone want some cheese? I brought cheese. Would y'all like some? I brought cheese for my best of friend. Oh my god. They stole my cheese. And me. They stole me too. Alright. Cheese grab. Oh god. Bro, fuck. My cheese. Ooh. Oh my god, are you kidding me, dude? Okay, let me get my flashlight out. I don't think we can hold the cheese. What? Hands do grab me and kill me. I don't know if the flashlight will work here. Feels like this is just a run for your life situation. Yeah, they don't give a fuck about the flashlight. Ah! Damn it! Ugh, the angle's so hard to tell, too. The perspective's so tricky on these games. Do you know that the Wouldn't You Like to Know Weather Boy is fake? It's the Weather Boy's son. I learned that out recently and I was like, what do you mean it's a fake meme? I wanted to believe that this 8-year-old just stepped to, you know, a fully grown adult weatherman and talk shit to him. But no, it's his son. Oh, fucking cunt. It's his son. And they set it up. I mean, it is still hilarious. I do agree. But I was like, what do you mean, dude? A fraud. I've been bamboozled. Also, damn, you don't even care? I'm trying to share a fun fact and you don't even care? That's so mean. That's so mean. Unbelievable. Fucking cunt, dude. How did I do this the first time so easily? I'm not trying to steal the funnies. Damn, dude, imagine coming into a chat and telling them I don't care. That's crazy, dog. That's crazy. Damn, just say you guys hate me. I get it. Just say you hate me, no worries. No worries, just say you hate me. It's fine, I understand. Oh, and now you're gonna accuse me of gaslighting? Oh my gosh, you guys love to be victims. Oh, fuck that bitch. Oh god, they're gonna be able to chase me under the bed, huh? Yep. Climb! Oh god. What disgusting bathroom is this? Ugh. Do I need to turn on the shower? Would you guys like a shower? I know you're stinky. Ah, never mind. Sorry, no shower. But I've got spare soaps for you guys to take. Feel free to grab one right off the floor. You know what? I'll grab one for you guys just in case. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. You're proving my point. I've got a flashlight, guys, and I'm not scared to use it. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to push the oh, I hate it.
Bruh.
Agreed, bruh. What do I need to do here? I think the wheelchair, right? Unbelievable. The crop dusting. You're making the water acidic. Actually, I don't know. Is a fart basic or is it acidic? I figured I'd be able to push this, but I guess not. I wonder if I can flood this room. Cursed bubble bath. Oh no. Oh no. I know what I have to do. No! Why would you turn? Oh my god, I stopped moving and then the character acted on its own and fucking turned away with the flashlight. That's fucked up. Did this open the door the first time? I didn't even notice. Right. Oh no, I opened the door the first time. Right. With the soap. With the stinky soap, I forgot. Yoink. I think I can make this shot in the dark, eh? Fuck. Immediately. You're gonna get me. I'm being gotten already. Oh. Chat, don't get me. We're chilling. We're chilling. I was wondering if you were recording the song, but I wasn't sure. Bro, what the fuck, dog? Why? Hold. Pick up. Pick up. There we go. Hi, Atramentus. Welcome on in. Howdy, howdy. It has been a minute. Hello, hello. How have you been? Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing swell. Also, hi, Negligence. Welcome on in. I hope you're also doing swell. Hello. Come on, come on. Bro, what the hell? I don't understand. The flashlight's supposed to make it so they don't move, and then they do. The fuck, dude? The fuck? You're doing quite swell. I'm so glad to hear that. Oh, the Tim Burton song. Okay, alright. Let me get this soap throw. To be honest, I was thinking we could just fucking run away from that bitch, but they were kind of fast. They were kind of fucking speedy. I don't think that's an option, unfortunately. Twitch is really, really adamant about stuff like that. I actually considered it, but yeah, Twitch is really on top of shit like that. So, unfortunately, Twitch is the fun police, so nothing for us. Come on, come on. Fuck. Alright, come on, this is it. The end all to be all. Oh, you're tired and sore. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better. Get some rest, hopefully. Alright. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not surprised that they took out someone's, like, spank emote, which is so on top of shit like that. I think I even tried to name, like, you can't even name, like, certain things, certain stuff. Like, the middle finger emote we have, that one, I have to be very careful about how I named it. I mean, the femur emote's different, though. Also, it just depends if you've been caught yet, kind of. Fuck, dude, I'm putting the flashlight on. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's, like, legitimately a half femur, so it's, like, just riding the line. But like I said, it really depends also, I think, if you've been caught or not. Because a lot of people, like, that's the thing, right? You'll have emotes, and then... Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was a middle finger emote, and I was like, oh, okay. We're not allowed to have this, I guess. You know what I could do? So I've just gotta get this guy to be pissed off for, like, a second. Is that enough? That's enough. Go, 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 go. What the fuck? I was all the way on the other side! No, we're dropping the soap. That's the whole point. Okay, we're yeeting the soap to be more precise. Alright. God, I hate this, dude. The timing sucks. Right? Let me give people the bird. I think I had to name it something like bird, or I don't even think FU was an option. Like, Twitch is really on top of, like, how you name shit. They're really, like, no fun. We don't believe in fun. Come on. You can't fucking grab me, huh, bitch? Fuck. Dude, they have such a good, like, range. Yeah, the light freezes it. Well, it's supposed to. Sometimes it just fucking doesn't. It's a real 50-50. Oh, you named yours Tilted? That's so good. I'm curious. Hold on. What did I name mine? It is... Bird. Yeah, Bird was what I went with. Because I was like, what the fuck do I name this then? I think I tried FU and it wasn't allowed. I don't even know Frick was allowed. Like, that's genuinely, like, the levels of it for Twitch. It's ridiculous. Don't move. Fuck you, dude. Leave me alone, I hate you. Ah. If the light turns off on its own, I'm gonna cry. When in doubt, use Spanish or slings. I mean, I feel like that works if you have a community who knows Spanish, but, like, ideally you want an emote to be named something relevant to what it is. Dude, right? Apparently the middle finger, not allowed on Twitch. How dare you? Oh, there's so fucking many of them. Oh my god, dude. How am I... Oh my god, how am I supposed to get past them? That's actually crazy. Oh my god, please. Don't grab me, don't grab me! Oh, thank god, dude. Sometimes they'll get you anyways. It's very scary. I'm scared to do this. Oh, that wasn't so bad, actually. Okay. You gotta be sneaky, Charlie. Extra sneaky. Fuck. There you go. You just gotta make the noise. That's all. That's all. That's all. That's all it is. Hey, I know that yellow hood, right? It looks familiar. Boy, I can't believe you're using that emote in this chat, even though it's made for this chat. Oh wait, we need this one. Yoink, gimme. Oh wait, we have to go back the other way. Alright, you grab the other one. They're probably not going to. Oh no, I'm stuck. Oh! Well, at least I lived. I didn't know I could get on the outside of the railing. Oh, fuck, dude. Oh, okay. I thought it was stuck under the chair, and I was like, no. We've soft locked. No! God, step-sibling stuff's so cursed, dude. No, we escaped, thank God. I still hate that they have no shoes on. Imagine how disgusting shit we're stepping on, or just like the sharp things. We're definitely, like, our feet raw, dude. Grab it. Grab it. There you go. Tetanus, glass, all sorts of shit happening. Get him a pair of shoes. I don't care about a new hat, I need shoes. Alright, now we skadoodle. Yippee! Let's go! Hold my hand. I think it's so cute that you can hold hands. Any game that lets me hold hands with someone else is so adorable. A few years back, when I was on VR chat, when I'd use it, like, way often. Mostly COVID, to be honest. There was someone who had an avatar that you could like interact with the hand, and it was like the avatars could hold hands with each other, the specific one, and I was like, that shit's so cute, dude. That's absolutely adorable. Like fall flat, human fall flat, that's a lot of holding hands. I love that. A handhold is just so wholesome. So cute. Oh no, I hear something. This is the last game you want to be hearing shit in. Unprotected hand holding? How lewd. I know, sorry. Don't tell Twitch. You're gonna get banned for talking about holding hands. Whoa! Oh shit. Oh god, this is not what we're supposed to do. Oh, fuck. Damn it, dude. There we go. Okay. Oh no, there's fucking 2 of them? What the fuck is she doing? Okay. Oh my god, there's so many. Come on, let's go, dude. Get that last one off. On delay, come on, dude. Let's go. What are you doing? Oh, do I need a help? Hold on. Me, what are you doing? Oh, waiting for me. Ah, I see. Adam's family member, copyright. That is true. Oh no. I hate that. What? Through the shelf? Are you fucking kidding me? That doesn't make any sense, dude. Literally grabbed me through the shelf. Whatever. Yeah, from what I've understood of this game, there's really not a ton of lore, at least in game 1. I don't know about game 2. It's just kind of like a lot of spooky concepts, seems to be the vibe. In DLC? Gotcha. When I looked it up for 1, people were like, 1 is just kind of, it is what it is. No, fuck. Like, it's like there's no clear definition of what's what, really. A lot of it's just like interpretation of ideas and shit. Yeah, I don't think I've read about that yet, or gotten to that point in the game yet. Unless you're talking about only the DLC. I don't know if 2 or 3 will have, like, expand on stuff. I only played 1. It's okay. I don't, like, need a video. I don't really watch lore videos, to be honest. I really only read stuff. I also don't want to, like, accidentally be spoiled for anything before I've finished all the games. Okay, where are we going? Right through there. Make a break for it. Perfect. Oh. Well, I still need to play 3 as well, so. And also, like I said, I'm not really a lore video person. I really only read lore, to be honest. Like, I just hit the wiki pages for stuff. Wiki page, dude, wiki page lore entries, wiki page lore summaries, top notch, honestly, goated. Shout out to whoever is editing the wiki lore pages. Fuck. The wickety wiki pages? Yeah, the wickety wiki whack. I mean, lore depends on, I feel like songs made by fans is like, I don't think that's like a lore summary video. I feel like those are personally, I'd say, 2 different things. I guess unless someone made a lore summary song, maybe. But I like if someone's just summarizing lore for me, I'd rather just read it myself, personally. I feel like it's way quicker. Also, like, oh, YouTube stuff's so drawn out. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. What food you get? Also, thank you for the head pads. I'll have to, like I said, I gotta make the redeem again. The points redeem to clarify. Whoa! Oh, turkey sando. Oh, I love a sandwich. Oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. Do I have to go get a block from all the way back there? Oh, fuck. I think I do. That's crazy. That's fucked up, dude. I gotta get all the way in the back. It is a big boy. Oh, heckin' chonker. Don't see me, don't see me, don't see me. Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. Bro, I don't know. He's fucking Spider-Manning it on the ceiling, and I hate it. I wish he would not be doing this right now. Is he looking? Whoa! Okay, we're in, we're in. Okay, okay. We just need him to go look at some other shit. Okay, he's looking at that shit. Oh, fuck, dude. Hopefully I get this. Ooh, okay. We made it. Well, I was to say he's definitely looking under that bed. Ugh. The spider monster from Monster Hunter? Oh, I feel like I could totally say that. Oh, thank God they put us here. I'm gonna let him run out. Fuck, dude! Oh, how does he just know where I'm at? What the hell, man? He's cheating! He's cheating! I see. I don't think I've heard of that channel. I don't watch a lot of YouTube, to be honest. That's like my big thing. I feel like so many people watch a lot of YouTube, and I'm like, I've never heard of that person. I'm sorry. That's me with a lot of content creators, period. Fuck, dude. Oh. Like, I just miss a lot of people. Which is, like, kind of a shame, I think, in some ways, because sometimes I'm like, man, dude, I feel like I missed out on hella good content creators. But then also sometimes I'm like, yeah, whatever. I found people I've liked since then. Like, you know, I found my own people that I was big on. So, it worked out, you know? Don't grab me from here. Please tell me he can't grab me. Yeah, he definitely can. Fuck, dude. No, like, I just mean, like, in general. Because, like, sometimes people are, like, really hyped about a thing. Like, just general, like, I experience it just a lot with a lot of people. Sometimes people are, like, really hyped about a thing, and I'm like, yo, dude, I have no clue what that thing is. Not, like, really sorry, but just, like, you know. People be hyped about a thing, and I'm like, I don't. Never. What? Oh, yeah, I listen to a lot of music. I just don't watch YouTube. I listen to music constantly in podcasts. But YouTube's just never been... Well, YouTube was my thing, but, like, in the... in the mid to... Like, the first 5 years of YouTube was my thing. Oh, no, like, I don't feel bad. Like... sorry, when I say sorry, I mean more like I said, like, more like, oops, my bad, dude. Like not genuine guilt, like... But, like, sometimes people want to share a thing, and you're like, you know, you're like, oh, like, I just feel, you know, a little sad, I think, that someone's excited about a thing. Get under the fucking bed, my guy. And... fuck, dude, he's so fast. Like, people want to share a thing they're excited about, right? And sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know that thing. So... Like, I think people want to share stuff with people. Ooh, let me under there. He surely wouldn't grab the other bed, right? Man, I hate his patterns. Oh yeah, there's a no Valve making 3. I feel like that makes sense. That's such a long meme. I feel like there's so many videos about the Valve doesn't make number 3 of the game. Bro, I swear to God, I know the whole how, because I swear to God, every fucking monster in this game has crazy long arms. Their reach is insane. There's no way he would know. How would he know? Man. Bruh. I hate this guy. Bethesda song. Makes sense. Yeah, I feel like parody songs and stuff were really popular for a while. Alright, he's grabbing me, but I could be faster. I could be faster, right? I feel like we had good luck under this bed. I say, and then it doesn't go well. Alright. We just gotta lock in. Also, it'd be nice if my friend was fucking doing anything to help. Other than just watching me getting grabbed over and over again. Fuck. The slide. I fucked up the slide. This is why you can't let me be in another game that slides. Although those are my favorite games. Let me slide everywhere in a game, please. not what I'm trying to do. He's looking around. He's peeking. Is he gonna leave that room? Oh, he's leaving. Maybe. Oh yeah, Weird Al, great parody writer. Great parody writer. So what did we do differently? Nothing. I just hit again this time. Did he move on? Did he just fucking leave? Hold on. Did that guy just fucking dip, dude? Oh my god, I just had to hide? I just had to wait? That's crazy. I suffered for no reason. I suffered for no reason at all. He grabbed me so many times. I didn't even need to be grabbed that much. I was accosted numerous times unnecessarily. I deserved better. I will be suing. Yeah, it sounds like they make a wide range of songs then. Oh god. Okay. Thanks, Giuliano. I needed that. Bro. God damn it. I am my own problem. I am my own worst enemy. Yo, enemies to lovers arc, but with yourself. True love, dude. From self-hatred to true self-love. Yeah, dude, you go splat, and I think the neck breaks, too. It's kind of fucked up. Alright. Let me lock the fuck in. Unlocked? What was that noise? I heard a noise when they dropped down, and I did not like it, Sam I am. What is the purpose of this? I see. Okay. I think I'm gonna hate this, but we're here. I bet that big bitch is still around somewhere. He's gonna grab me again. He's gonna yank me. Yoink me. Yeah, yo, he's yanking me. Can I make that jump from the table? That seems kind of far, but like, we'll give it a go. All right. Whoops! Hopefully that wasn't important. Alright, we made it, we made it, we made it. Oh, actually not bad at all, but I'm sure that guy's gonna, like, show up as soon as I get the key. Usually, like, per level for Little Nightmares, like, whoever's the, like, newest boss or enemy, like, they hang around for so long. Oh, Weird Al's the de facto music cameo in a lot of cartoon shows. That makes sense, I feel like. I love when cartoon shows or, like, appearances, like, use real artists. It's so good. It's why I love, Phineas and Ferb with Bowling for Soup. They play Love Handle in the show, too, if I remember correctly, and they do the intro. Honestly, peak moment of my life was watching Bowling for Soup live at a festival do the Phineas and Ferb intro. That was amazing. 10 out of 10. It was raining too, but it was like perfect. Oh, the vibes were so good. If you like a band that kind of puts on a show, highly recommend Bowling for Soup. They were such an entertaining band to see that, like, was entertaining to, like, a lot of bands are just like, all right, we're gonna come out and we're gonna play our songs. And we might be like, oh, we love you, city. How's everyone you doing tonight? But, like, other than that, they're not talking, right? Or they'll be like, hey, give it up for the drummer, you know? But, Bowling for Soup was so great. Because they would, like, I don't know. They did, of course, all that, but then they, like, kind of did skits in between. Yeah, those are all their songs. Mostly all their hits. But yeah, Bowling for Soup, great band. Great live band to see. Alright. This guy's gonna be lurking about. I don't know what I'm supposed to get here. I think we're just supposed to try and leave, to be honest. He's coming back. If I have to go back there and pull shit out, this is gonna be crazy. Oh my god, he's just sawing at him. Disgusting. Oh, she's just gonna give me uppies. Hell yeah, let us out of here, dude. Let's go. Now I have to get to her, though. You know what? I feel like I'm missing something over here. Okay, well, I can't do that without her, so... Not yet. What is bro doing? I feel like we don't want to know. Just let him... Don't even think about it. That guy's crazy. Just pretend he's not there. He's too spooky. Right. Tile, tile, tile. Ah, I see. Ah, he's dead. Oh god, oh god. He surely wouldn't pick up the bed with the dead guy, right? Come on, why isn't she fucking helping? Fuck, dude. Let me up, let me up, let me up. I don't even know where we're taking this. Is it out here? Oh, it is, thank God. Okay. We got big chin. Let's go. No, I'm getting stuck on the fucking wall. Run, 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 run. Slide. That was a slow slide. Oh my God, okay. Yeah, dude, he just smashed us like a pancake. Fuck, I always get stuck on the goddamn wall. Fuck, dude, I got... I'm just kind of fucked, dude, if I don't get that right away. Damn. Am I supposed to double back? She fucking takes off without me so fast, and it honestly pisses me off. I do not yearn for the walls. People being inside of walls seems so creepy to me. I do not fuck with it. Raw. Bro, put it in! There we go. I feel like she is so much faster than me. Also, God, the timing on that slide fucking sucks. I don't know if I can even get past that. I might have to double back. Like, do I not even try? Do I just fucking wait? I guess not. Not this time. Man, the timing on this chapter, not my favorite. It is a lot of really accurate timing. I have no clue. Fuck. I think it's a prequel, actually, from what I heard. They're a fit. Yeah, dude's fucking crashing out. I heard this was the prequel, but like I said, I'm not 100% certain, and I haven't looked up everything for the game yet, because I don't want to potentially be spoiled for, like, spoilers for 3, or, I don't know, just shit later. Fuck, dude, I fucked that up. God damn it. Okay, if I could not get stuck on shit, there we go. The slide's so bad for me compared to her, and I hate it. Oh, okay, so I am just supposed to fucking run it. Oh god, I hate the camera angles. Stop it. It's so unnecessary. You're stressing me out. Oh my god, he's squishing them. Oh my god, I'm gonna get squished. Let's go! Let's go, friend! Oh, we're gonna fucking incinerate this bitch. Let's go. Goodbye, sir. Oh, perfect. It is definitely an oven, yes. Oh, not her warming her hands on the fire. That's crazy, dude. That's actually crazy. She's insane, I think. Yo, give me uppies over here. Baked blob, for sure. Yeah, they do say that, right? That human flesh smells like pork. Which is crazy. Like bacon, I think specifically is what they say. Which is, that's, you know, wild information. Yo, hold my hand. Hold my hand. All right, come on. I have not read the what does human flesh taste like studies. Haven't gotten around to those, but that is nuts. Someone passed the salt. I don't know if I don't even know if he's a person. A lot of these things are like crazy and made of other shit, so who knows? Oh yeah, no, I'm aware. Yeah, they test because, yeah. It depends on, like, what product you're testing on an animal, because it depends on, yeah, what specific thing from that animal you need closest to us, or, just, there's a lot of factors that goes into, like, why are we testing this product on this animal? It's all pretty interesting, though. Maybe we could sell them and get rich. I don't know if you'd sell for anything. Yeah, there's which is like, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Animal testing that's a whole concept. I feel like there's gotta be more shit over here that we're missing. We haven't found a little radio guy in so long. Little radio guy, where are you? Or we're little TV guy. Little TV guy, where you at? A new area? Oh! 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 Okay. What the bodies at the floor? Where is that music cameo for that bit of the game? Oh, I hear music. Speaking of music, I hear music. Oh! I think we should not go that way, friendo. Besto friendo, don't go that way. Alright, besto friendo, we can go this way now. But wait, hold my hand. Because you run fast. And I think maybe if we're holding hands together... Oh my god, that guy just walked over and fucking shoved his head into a TV. That is crazy. Oh, what is she doing? That was weird. Besto friendo uppies. Oh, or that works. Or that works, I guess. Oh, is this where we get on the ladder and then it zooms out all crazy like the first game? Not too crazy. Okay. Don't fall off! Oh yeah, Resident Evil 4. I can see the vibes a little bit. Let me get my flashlight out. Oh, I don't know you, sir. I'm just gonna run away. Is this like a media commentary? A lot of TVs, a lot of dead people. So friendo uppies, let's go! The big jumps. The big yumps. What's to say? I don't think I can make that jump. Oh, just through the grate. I always miss the grate on the floor, it's so funny. Yeet. Wasn't sure if I was gonna make that for a second. Yeet. They're jumping so cute. Just the little jumps. The little yumps. Oh. Wait, no. Hold my hand. Hold my hand. Oh, wait a minute. How do we get out? Hmm? Oh, I think I see it, actually. Can I make that jump back, though? Or not? Oh, there was a hole. I literally was just talking about how I never see it. That's so funny. True to my word. I said, this is how the thing works, and then I went, now let me give an example. Let me give a working example. I'm not seeing a hole to the right. I don't think there is. I was gonna say, I was like, I thought I looked, and I don't think I saw anything. Oh, well, the elevator's moving. Oh, yeah, I did see that, but I didn't think... To be honest, I didn't think they'd have me jump out of the moving elevator. Yeah, I noticed it earlier. I was like, oh, I think you can climb up that section. Yeah, here. Oh, you don't even have to climb. I just fucking made it. I just fucking yeeted. Besto friendo, I hope you make it on your own. I'm sure you'll get here. I believe in you. I don't have a key. Alright, besto friendo. You hang out. Probably gonna have to open the drawers. Oh, or not. Probably they'll be in one of the drawers. Oh, that one did not open very far. Okay. Ah, there it is. Pick it up! Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up! Ba-da-da. Bro, can you interact with the fucking key? I'm standing on it, my guy. There you go. I do feel like some of this game is just like, you have to be on that specific angle. And you're like, oh, okay. Uppies. What did that do? I feel like that maybe is making it so the elevator can go one floor higher, is my guess. We shall see. Let's go. Yeah, that's what I figured. Oh wait, nope, back down. Maybe something downstairs? Not really seeing much here. It must be something probably, we're probably have to backtrack a little bit. Unless, I don't think we can really go back here. Okay. Elevator it is. What? Whoopsies. Wah! I think it seems pretty adamant on us being on this part of the game. So, I don't think we're doubling back. Okay, we're gonna have to hit it again. Got it. Bro, really? From there? Ugh. I didn't think that'd be enough to kill us. Yo, they're listening to a jammy song in there. There we go. Alright. And the best friend's doing nothing. They're not helping at all. Lazy. I'm doing all the work on the class project. Alright. This way. And the first one. And hopefully I can get the angle easily this time. Bye, Juliana. Thanks so much for hanging out. Have a good sleep. I hope you have a good rest of your time zone. I shall hopefully see you soon. Have a good swim. Thanks so much for hanging out. It was good seeing you. Oh, come on, dude. Grab it. There we go. Alright, besto friendo. We got this. What am I missing? There's obviously some sort of something. Just not quite sure. I figured this corresponded to the elevator, but doesn't seem to be the case. She won't come in. Can I just get her to hold my hand and get in with me? Okay, she's letting go. I can't do it a second time. What does this say? I'm like, I don't think there's anything in the back in the darkness here, but gotta check. Let me just have a look around. Nothing going on here. Alright. It's gotta be connected to the elevator. Okay, I can't jump out the left. Is it that the elevator's slow, maybe? Depending on where, I feel like, it's 10 p.m. in some parts of the US right now, so I feel like that's kind of the appropriate sleep time for a lot of people. I don't know if this is the right choice, but it's the choice I'm making. Yeah, I think it's between like 7 and 10 for the US. What does sleep time mean? Whenever someone goes to bed? Whenever someone chooses to eat? Oh, I see. Ah, there we go. Some people do. Oh yeah, that's fair. I used to have really, really bad insomnia when I was younger. That shit sucks. That shit sucks so much. Sleep? No, not for you. Why? Just because, most of the time. Some people have it that's like, you know, something brings it on. But for a lot of people, it's like, just because, dude. I think mine was honestly just because. Okay, this is a whole thing. Let me go in that room down there real quick. Yeah, that's why I thought was what happened. Okay, I guess we're just, okay. Hopefully there was nothing important in that room. Because we're not going. Hey, get on that coat rack, coat hanger, yes. Oh, and I just have to trust that she fucking grabs me, dude. This shit's crazy every time. Ooh! Makes me so anxious. Baby ladder. It's kind of cool to see like an outdoor city, I won't lie. It's very neat. I've enjoyed this part of the game. Like the environments. The environments fucking go hard for Little Nightmares. Oh my god. That thing like fell on me. Oh, climb? Come on. There we go. Oh, that's fair. Yeah. Oh, fuck. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at chat. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, sleep is, body's gotta be real chill for that. Well, for most people at least. It depends. Sleep is so weird because some people like just have issues for like just because body hate you, like genuinely. I mean, I'm sure it's probably things, but sometimes it really like people can't tell. And like a lot of people take melatonin, but like melatonin, you also build a tolerance to. Like it's just a whole thing. Which is like wild to be like, this thing helps me sleep and I need it, but my body gets used to it eventually, so it doesn't help, and I can't take it for months until my body no longer is used to that. Why are there spots to hide? I don't like how this is looking. Well, I'm glad to hear it's gotten better. Oh, okay, we're missing a doorknob. I see it. Oh god. But I think we have to hurry before this collapses. Run! Get out of here! Run! Oh god, oh god, oh god. Fuck, did I drop it? Oh shit. Grip. Oh god, yeah, that's awful. Yeah, dude, collapsing in public space is not fun. I've had issues with that before in the past, and it's fucking awful. Just like not knowing if you could be like safe in a spot. Fuck, dude, where's this doorknob at? Does she have it? Oh, there it is. No, it's not. I feel like we've got fucked with our respawn. Where's this doorknob at? Oh no. I feel like we grabbed it earlier, right? Well, I was gonna do a restart from last checkpoint, but that's not an option. I don't really have any paranormal stories to share, to be honest. I mean, like, I've seen shadow people and stuff, but, like, that's not anything really crazy or, like, super interesting. I'm pretty sure my high school theater was haunted. I think the house I grew up in as a kid was haunted. And then, yeah, I've seen shadow people in other places. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, not any. A lot of people see them. It's nothing interesting. It's nothing really standoutish. They said they're the first sign of a haunting, and I will say, like, I don't know if I've actually seen them or what, but I've definitely seen what looks like them. And I never interact. Yeah, they're like I said, they're so common. Yeah. Very nice though when I go places and I don't see them. Because then I'm like, ah, sick, dude. This place isn't, this place isn't fucking bullshit. But also, there's always the thing of, like, could be a trick of the light, who knows? But I will say I've always only seen them in some places, which makes me be like, I don't know, dude. Where did they... I swear there's obviously a doorknob, but I can't fucking find it. Like, where did it go? Oh, you have one, Blade? Yo, let's hear it. And I have to, like, restart the chapter. This is, like, a terrible spot to be in. You have a ghost that's stealing your cookies when you're running to the bathroom. That's fucked up, dude. That reminds me, I've talked about it before, but I'd love to have, like, watch, like a duo, like, buddy comedy, like, roommate comedy, where one of them's just a ghost. I think it'd be so funny. It has potential for so many good bits. Man, where is this at? Hold on. I'm gonna have a little bit of a Google, because I swear I saw it the first time, and now that we've, like, had to restart, I can't find it. I think we're on this one. What the fuck? Hold on. I just like it was there and then it wasn't. You were pushing this last time, but like nothing was happening. Oh! Okay, there we go. I guess we just weren't pushing them long enough. Run! Oh. Not me killing myself. I thought I was the other one. That is true. That is true. If someone climbs 6 floors, you know what? You can have that cookie. That is true. I didn't believe. Wait, well, what happened? This is not where we landed at? What the fuck? Besto friendo. Come with. Oh, thank God they're okay. We're having a moment, I think. That was a lot of staring, a lot of eye contact. A lot of rain clothing eye contact. Alright, come on. I need uppies. I need the big jumps. The big yumps. They are kids. That is true. You think that children can't have moments? I didn't say I shipped them. I just said they had a moment. I didn't even say it was romantic, dude. That's on you. That was your inference. I just said they were having a moment. Friends have moments. You can have a lot of moments with a lot of people in a lot of different ways. I think children definitely have moments. They have big emotions and stuff. You're telling me you don't have a single good moment with, like, another person as a kid? That's rough. Yeah, that's what I said. I didn't make it weird. I wasn't saying anything about a ship or romantic. I think that's you, Void. Don't project onto me. See? See? I have to talk to the TV, hold on. There we go. That's fair. That's why, to be honest, that's why I'm like, asking questions. If you don't understand something, questions always great before conclusions. When in doubt, inquire. I'm almost to the door. We've almost got it this time. I got it! I got it! Into the door! Well, I don't think that's teasing. Like I said, I think that was assumptions. I think those are two different things. But to each their own. Dude, Spooky Hat Man? Spooky Hat Man? Spooky Slender Man. That is Spooky Slender Man, dude. Oh yeah, get us out of here. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh, I should have opened the door. I should not have opened the door. Besto friendo, come on, please. Don't leave me. There's no space for me to hide though, dude. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's so fair. Yeah, to be like, I don't know what that word means. What is that? But I'm like, I'm a questions person. I'm a curious by nature person. I like to gather all of the insight and data that I can. Give me everything. Tell me everything. No, no, no! They stole my besto friendo, dude! Oh no! This is what the TV people are. No, he's stealing everything. He's stolen all of them. No, I can't even get them. Oh, fuck. Not my best friend! Who's gonna hold hands with me now? Fuck. Can I go into the TV? I love Poltergeist. Also, English has like a lot of yes. Also, English very different culturally and then very different regionally, right? English has a lot of really like questionable factors is kind of the best way to say it, I feel like. There's a lot of room for confusion with English, I think is actually the best way to say that. Get up there. Come on. Yo, TV transportation. Me up. Pull me up. Oh, I didn't see the flywheel over here. Other way? Why is the antenna on the bottom? That's not how that works. Silly, silly, dude. Gen Z game developers. They don't know where a TV antenna's supposed to go. How embarrassing. Big fans. In Dutch, you get in trouble with some dialects, regional words. Used in places that are like an hour drive by car, let alone that big. Yeah. That's just an issue, I think, with a lot of language, right? A lot of languages, if they're spoken in many different parts of the world, or even regions in parts of the world, or amongst many cultures, slang is very different, right? Some words mean one thing some places and different things the other. So, exactly. Yep. I was gonna say Spanish is a very good example of don't say that word here. That means something completely different than where it means something that thing somewhere else. Spanish is very, very big about it because Spanish is spoken in so many different places in the world with so many different cultures. So, which, like, the more cultures you have, the more regions, the more variety there is amongst language. So, even accents sometimes, like, depending on the language, can change stuff. It's crazy. Fuck. Oh, I lived. Sick. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, a lot of places, genitals are like normal everyday words. I think I might need to climb in the back. We'll see. Nope. Whoop! Whoopsies. I think I just need to fall down. I need the remote. I don't have it. I didn't bring it. Let me up. No grabbing. Oh, I still have it. Okay, I didn't realize I was holding it. I think it's like the flashlight. It comes out in certain areas. We're defecating, and if you cross the border to the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium, you better not say you're going to defecate, because you'd be saying something completely different. That's crazy, because those are both wild things to say to begin with, like, you know? Okay, so we've got that there. We can teleport that way. Need to get across somehow. Oh, I can pull this. I was trying to grab this earlier and it wasn't working. Think like there should hopefully be good. Ah, fuck. Shit. There we go. I feel like you shouldn't want to say either of those things, which is wild that one's the good one and one's not. Oh, fuck. I feel like he's like the hang in there cat when I'm just hanging off something. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I figured it was Void. Oh, fuck, dude. Ugh, I hate the angles in this game. Oh, they kill me. I like how everyone's. Can you not say sex on Twitch? Yeah, yeah. Can you not just say it sex? Is that a no-go? Bro, what depth perception? This game's the worst about it. Oh, I made it. Oh. Oh, you can. Okay. I just wasn't sure. There was a lot of censoring happening amongst everyone. I was gonna say, we're all adults in here, or we should be. If you're not, get out. GTFO, dude. So, we're all good to say it. Ah, I see. That's fair, Void. That's fair. What am I missing here? Was I just supposed to fly off, maybe? Oh, yeah. Well, Hololive's like a VTuber company, right? Also, I think SEGGS has been around for, like, ever, to be honest. Oh, special eggs, I see. Yeah, I think Segs is like has always been like a meme. Like a long-term meme, spelling from what I've seen. What am I missing here? Oh, I can go in this way. Ah, I see. But yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, if you're like, if you work for a company, for the most part, you have to be very mindful of what you're saying. And from what I've seen, yeah, the that specific industry being a culture, or being a part of that specific industry, is a big issue. Also, yo, reference to the last game. Well, I was thinking I'd be able to grab that, but I guess not. What am I missing? Why can't I pick up the shoe? No, I don't want the other shoe. Get up on the couch. Interesting. Yeah, I've only heard, not a lot of great things about, I don't know, one of them. I think the other one's the bad one. I think I haven't heard too bad about HoloLive. I don't know. Oh, I'm stuck. There we go. But I know they all have their issues. Dude, for real, it's crazy. But, like, I'm not surprised because anime culture is, like, kind of wild. You have a lot of interesting people in anime culture. So I'm not surprised. Okay. I feel like I should be able to grab that, but no. There might not have been any value to come back here other than the collectibles. If I'm gonna be real. We might have to go back. Can I maybe push one of these doors open? That's probably what it is, right? I always assume I can't push a door open because I can't push like 80% of the doors open. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! She's eating. Oh yeah, I honestly don't know much about like any of them. I haven't even heard of Holostar. I didn't even know that was a thing. That's kind of interesting that they divide them by gender. But, I mean, you do you. Where are we going? Oh, okay. She'll just give me the big suck no matter what. Can't mix talents. Apparently not. Oh, you know, because of dramas. Gotcha. Same, Void, to be honest. Honestly, same. Yeah, most of what I see is... I do see drama on occasion. But I don't really watch... I mean, I don't watch... I just don't have a lot of time to watch a lot of streams in general. Right? Okay, what do I need her to do for me? There's obviously some sort of something. Is it that I need her away from the TV, maybe? Okay, she'll suck me anyways. She's given me the big suck. I think I have to get out of the kitchen somehow, is my guess. She's pretty locked in on that TV. I guess I have to get out through the window? Oh, can I just... Oh. Wait, maybe not? That feels like I should just be able to jump out the window. To the window. To the wall. To the wall. Yeah, I definitely do need to go out that way. I just gotta get her pissed off somehow. That's how you get insects? Facts. Oh yeah, hold on. Having a little bit of a look, because I really don't know. Oh, okay. Thank God. Thank God I looked. I wouldn't have ever found that. I have to turn that TV on back there. I wouldn't have found it either. I'm not using a walkthrough guide unless there's spots where I'm like, yikes, I don't want to spend more than 10 minutes trying to do this. That one was just like, I just had seen everything here, but only if I'm getting like stuck. Oh, I didn't think you were shaming. I was just explaining. I figured you were just asking. Alright. Up, see, no, up, 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 up! Okay, and now this guy, what do I need him to do? Turn that one on. Oh! Okay. Rip that guy. Oh no, I can call for her still even though she's not here. How sad. That's so sad. Oh, my best friend. She's gone. Oh my god. Whoa. Whoa, catch yourself. Yippee! Coat hanger zip line, because you're small enough to do that. Oh, let me up. Alright. I was gonna say, do it. Jump. I don't think I can. Okay. Do a flip! Do a flip! The big tower they're all staring at? Have I ever ziplined? I want to say yeah when I was younger, but it's been like ages. I wanted to do it the last time I went to Vegas, but no one else wanted to do it. And I was mostly like there for a wedding, so we were doing, oh my god, holy fuck. So we were doing like shit that they wanted to do. I'm not sure if it is. Little Nightmares has a lot of references to a lot of stuff though. Fuck dude. Okay, how do I get this? I don't think I could go out the side. Can I? Can I make this? Well, I can make this. Okay, was that just a bamboozlement trap? Oh, and then I push it. Got it, got it. Ah, fuck. Be the TV. Be the channel. Be the pixelated porn channel. A lever. Oh, that's electrocuted now. Undo the lever. No, thank you. Get in here, you son of a bitch! Oh, get up there, get up there, get up there. Ripperoni! Feel like a bee and bumble around. Ooh. Alright. Imagine dying. Couldn't be me, forehead. Never. Not a million years. Dying in this account. Well, actually. Wait a minute. Hold on. No. Commune with the TV, sir. Why are you not communing? Okay, what am I missing? Do I just need that on? Maybe I can just turn it on? Circle back around, probably. I probably just need to turn it on so I can teleport through it later. It's like a doll here. Yo, the scene from Star Wars, the trash compactor scene. Oh, when people ask you to hold your horses, they're asking you to be stable. I have heard that one before. It's pretty good. Like, it kind of does. Kind of true. Kind of true. Gotta hold on. Be steady. Be stable. Get up there. Nope. You're falling. There we go. Let me just squeeze. Alright, where are we going? Did I fuck this up? Oh no, I have to go under the elevator now, probably. I'm just so used to getting soft lock in games. It happens to me way more than I'd like. Now if I do this, will I just kill myself? Yes. Okay. That's what I was worried about. But, you know, only one way to know. Only one way to know for sure. Killing yourself. You know what? There's not enough rain for my raincoat. Well, I guess we had rain outside, actually. There has been some rain in the game. Also, where's our best friend? They've been killed, eaten, I don't know, made into a TV channel. And one that won't get... They're made into a TV show that won't get renewed for a second show. Oh, you're talking about Portal, yeah. Yeah, Portal has a ton of stuff like that. Portal has some crazy, if you watch people's speedruns of Portal, they are wild. Okay, we did this last time, but I don't really know if there's much value in us, like. I feel like I need to get onto the middle floor, this one here, somehow. The door doesn't open. Yeah, you might have to do it while you're moving. That's what I was wondering too. But I'll just teleport to the same spot I was at, is the thing. Because here... Yeah, it closes. If the elevator is moving, the door is closed. I got it. I know how to do it. Fuck, dude. Nope. Did it? No! Oh, I wasn't fast enough. What a shame. What a shame. Yeah, I got it. I figured it out. I'm guessing it's the delay, but yeah, I got it right there on that one. Alright. Here we go again! No, not through yet. Not through the TV yet. Alright, now we do it. Speed run. Oh, that was fast as fuck. Perfecto. Right. Yippee! Are you? I am winning. I am winning. How's it going, Garen? Welcome on in. Howdy, howdy. I hope you're doing swell. Hello, hello. We are winning after some struggling, as usual. Pull this box. And go around. Bring it around town. Oh my god, get in there. The fucking angles. I swear I'm always like 2% off on a spot in the game. Ooh, okay. Can I make that jump? Oh, we can. Up. Oh, I was trying to get to the sink. The floor is lava. Indeed, the floor is lava. Okay. Oh, fuck. It ate my jump. Okay. No jumps eaten, hopefully. Bruh. Did I jump from the top of the toilet last time? Or am I just having bad jumps? I don't think I jumped from the top of the toilet. Maybe I did. All the way up here? Did I just get lucky on that first one? Because I think I might actually supposed to go up on the shelf. Which is really funny if so. Can I make it on that radio? No. Okay, I got it. No worries. No whammies. We got this. Yeet! Bruh. How did I get this so well the first time? It's so funny in this game how usually my best run is the first one. And then I'll struggle way worse for the next fucking 5 tries. Oh, there we go. No! Oh, God, I hate the angle so much. Once I'm close enough, I wonder if I can turn off the TV. Oh, damn it. You guys like watching people get electrocuted? Well, boy howdy, do I have something to show you. Fuck. The power of belief. True, true. That is what Naruto always says. And that's my boy. Electricity only strikes the non-believers. Damn, dude. There we go. I think I was able to get... Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Perfect. Ripperoni, man. And I'm definitely going up there, but is there anything to collect in the meantime? Okay, we can't open that door. It's TV time. Wait, this TV's broken. What the heck, man? Okay, then we're dragging this over to the door. When you've gotta move a stool that's the whole size of you, dude. Can you imagine? Fucking nuts. Let me out! Let me out! Oh man. That's a lot of people. Can I turn off their TV? Damn it! I really wanted to be able to turn off the TV. Maybe it's not a TV, who knows? Ooh, oh, this is a big area. Big area with a cart. Okay, interesting. Yeah, dude. Some people really be iPad kids. Okay, I see what's happening here. Ding, 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 ding. I wonder if I can go out the window. Like with the chair, maybe? Is there a nether? No. Okay, interesting. You're just doing a little, yeah, just a little shopping, no worries. I got my cart, you know? It's got a funky wheel, but it is what it is. I'll live. Dude, does anyone else experience that? I feel like every time I go to the grocery store, I always get the cart with the fucked up wheel. Every time. Just the worst luck about it. Yeah, dude, everyone grab a candy bar. What do you guys want? I'm buying, no worries. Dude, yeah, right? It's just clicking and veering to the left. Last time I went to the grocery store, I got one with a wheel that was fucked up. And it was so loud that I just, like, held the like, a third of the cart up. Like, I held up, like, the first, like, the left front wheel or something. Because I was just like, dude, this is too loud. Okay, I think now I have to go this way, maybe? Man, I'm a little scared. Ah, damn it! It ate my jump. You want a Toblerone? I haven't had a Toblerone in ages. Alright, where's the cart at? Is it in the right place right now? How far back did they push me? No. Okay. Got it. Cool. Love that. Love that. I'm trying to think. If I were to get any candy bar, probably a Kit Kat. Oh, I love a Kit Kat. A dark chocolate Kit Kat's so good. I'm a big dark chocolate fan, personally. Also, I do like a Twix. Twix is pretty good. Caramel, kind of banging. That's if we're talking candy bar, at least. I do love anything gummies. Yeah, I agree. Dark chocolate, best chocolate. Yes, yes. Oh, it's so good. Oh, it's stuck. Reese's Fast Break. Oh, you know what? That's so fair. The Reese's, actually, Reese's makes a chocolate bar. Like, just a regular chocolate bar. Like, not one of the Fast Breaks or the Take Fives or whatever. Very good. Dude, yeah, Reese's peanut butter, to be honest, it's probably just about a lot of sugar. Let's be real. Okay, let me, before I stop dragging the cart, let me test this jump out. Okay. Okay. Just one more for practice? Okay, we should definitely be able to get that. I can't wait to fuck it up. Dude, I practiced some free will earlier today, and I made brownies. I left them in for a little too long. I got distracted by something, and I didn't set a timer, which I always need to do. The ADHD time blindness is real. Which is so funny, because I'll always, like, watch the clock, and then, like, I stop watching the clock 5 minutes before I have to take something out of the oven, and then that's when I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. Now they're extra toasty. Like, never to the point where something's like, oh my god, that's fucking smoking, but, like, things get a little crispy. The pizza's a little brown on the edges, you know? Stuff like that. But those brownies were delicious. I think they're still up on the counter, actually. Oh, fuck, I forgot. I need to jump from down here. Is that angle good? I hope. Okay. Oh! That jump was a little rough and I was really scared. God damn it! I slipped off the fucking side! Oh! No! No, no, no. Ugh. It does happen to the best of us. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the support while I cry. Okay. Okay, we got this. We just gotta lock in. Like I said, the biggest little nightmare in Little Nightmares is the camera angles and the depth perception situation. And then also an issue, just me being an idiot. When angles deserve to die, exactly. We've had a lot of song references tonight, I think. They've all been pretty good. Oh no, that was perfect! That was the pun, right? I feel like it works both ways. Ugh. Yeah, exactly. Then you had it, I feel like. There you go. Alright. Nah, you had it. You were nailing it. Never doubt. Believe in yourself. When in doubt, don't doubt. But also when in doubt, ask questions. But when in doubt, stop doubting and ask questions. It makes sense. No, trust me. Oh my god, this wheel's fucked up, I can tell. Alright, maybe like there? Alright. Practice jumps. Practice yumps. Of course I do it like perfect every time. Until it comes time for it to matter. Okay. I believe. But I doubt it. I believe, but I also am doubting. But when in doubt, don't doubt. I have no questions asked, so I've got to just not doubt. When in doubt, just lock the fuck in! And I can't get the first jump. Ugh. Okay, there we go. There we go. We're making it. We're making it. Eat. Alright, that TV should be on. Oh my god, we almost slipped there. I would have been so scared. Alright, and I have to jump from the bottom. God, I'm so scared. Oh! Oh, okay, we made it. Oh, thank God. Oh my god. Oh, I did not want to do that again. Hell yes. Hell yes. Where am I going? I can't see anything. Probably through the window? Through the wall? There we go. Quick save slot. Oh. Can I fuck up their TV watching experience? Maybe. Oh. It kind of looked like they were gonna come for me, so I wanted to run away. They were gonna get me. I think I just got paranoid, though. Yo, you can't steal me. Also, hi, Chainsaw, though. Welcome on in. Howdy, howdy. I hope you're doing swell. Hello, hello. Yeah, break in there. Just, like, bash your heads on it. It'll be fine. Oh, no, they're locked in. Never mind. I thought they were maybe the break in and then I'd be able to get in. Blue Skidoo, we can too. Oh, shit. We're 100% Blue Skidooing just via TVs. Oh god, they're gonna try and kill me. Fuck, dude, the music's getting crazy. Let me in. Blue Skidoo, please! Oh, thank God. That's what we were saying, yeah, this has gotta be like a media, allegory, right? Like, an allegory for, like, people are watching too much TV, it's rotting their brains, media consumption, too much media consumption. Which, like, fair. I do agree to some point. I also think, like, mindful... My friend! My besto friendo! Please! My baby! No! No! Oh, they took my friend again? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? Oh man, I really didn't think he would come in here. Fuck, dude. Let me out, let me out, let me out. Fuck, he grabbed me through the door? Are you kidding me? Okay, as soon as that bitch gets out, we gotta start breaking shit. Hold my hand, no. Alright, let me be free. Oh well, we tried. Wait, there's a Blue's Clues theory that's a Law and Order episode? That's crazy. No, I have not seen that. Go, 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 come on. Climb, come on, come on, come on, climb, 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 climb. Oh. Dude, that's what I'm saying, Slender Guy TV dude, though. It's Tully Slender Man. Slender news broadcaster. I was gonna say, I don't trust those holes on the floor. Oh, also you can, like, actually see the character's face pretty well here. It's kind of crazy. Usually you, like, don't get a good look at him. I don't know where he's at. I'm just gonna move this over because I was gonna say, I think this bitch is about to be here. Yeah, there he is. He's coming down the fucking hallway. I hate this man. All my homies hate this man. Especially my one homie that they fucking stole from me. Grab it. Pull, 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 pull. Come on. Go, go, go. Oh, I did not think we got that for a second. The clipping, I don't know if it's clipping, but things looked like they were not adding up great there. I was concerned it did. Feet! No, not the feet. I do hate that they're not wearing shoes, mostly because of, like, health reasons, but, like, I don't know. Also, feet yucky for me. I never want to see feet, ever. Ever. Keep them 7,000 feet away from me. How does he keep his suit so nice and wrinkle-free? This is actually a Downy commercial, wrinkle release spray commercial. It's also a steamer, a steamer advertisement, you know. Oh, bro, playing a scene in a train car like this is giving me Resident Evil flashbacks. Fuck, dude, I got stuck on the corner. That always happens to me. I hate it. What the hell? What? He can do that? That's crazy. Fuck, dude, I did again. God damn it. Crawl under, please. He's so... The crouching is so slow in this game. It is one of my big issues. Bruh. Okay, this timing's pretty precise. Alright, lock in. Grab! Drop! Run! Keep run- fucking hell. Slide, but it's like always a shitty slide. Bro, what is the timing on that, dude? I can't get stuck for a second. Okay. I feel like this guy's just toying with me if he can fucking phase through walls and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? The slide that it then takes away from me as I'm doing the slide. There we go, finally. Okay. I figured it was a make him split since he could, like, phase onto me. Bye, bitch! See you never! Probably see you in actually 2 seconds because you have my best friend. Give them back. Spacing powers buffer like dial-up. Dude, they got rid of dial-up. Did you guys see that like a few weeks ago? Dial-up did its last dial-up noise for the last time. So sad. I kind of miss dial-up, I won't lie. Like, you know, normal, good internet nowadays, convenient, but like, I kind of miss the days of dial-up. I think I miss the internet and what the internet was like back then is really what it is. Because internet during dial-up days, way different. Crazy different. But like, kind of in a good way, I think. It depends who you ask, but for me, I miss a lot of the old internet. Yo, is that a light? That's not a TV? Phone lines. What? Phone lines? That sounds fake. Why would phones ever have lines? Yeah, dude. Also, you used to not be able to use the internet while you used phone lines. Or a landline is what we called them here. Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy to think about when, like, it was uncommon for people to have a cell phone, right? Is this the aura farming part of the game? Does this mean we've gotten to the end? At the end of the last game, we aura farmed. My friend, give them back. Oh, my hat! My hair is gonna get wet in the rain. No, my hat! It's leaving us! Hi, come back! Oh, yo! I've got the power. Oh! Holy shit, dude, I do have the power. Be gone, thought. Bro, he's doing TV jutsu. It's the fourth form of jutsu that they don't tell you about in Naruto. To the right now. Take it back now, y'all. To the left, to the left. Sorry, I'm so unserious. I just can't. Video games and movies that are horror themed just make me laugh a little bit. Like, in a good way. Be gone! Alright, now do we aura farm? Bro really said, let there be light. His suit didn't save him, I know, dude. It might have been wrinkle-free and pressed, but doesn't matter. Is that it? Oh. But wait. Oh, weird. I had to, like, go back before I could walk forward. Nah, dude, we opened this door last time and it went bad. I don't know if this is a good idea. Oh, it's opening on itself. Okay. Not our fault this time, then. That's fucking rude, dude. Are you kidding me? That's messed up. Oh god, stairs for me to fall off. Hatless. I know they stole our hat. I want my hat back, dude. My only hat I found. And they ripped it off my head. Okay, this is weird. You have to... What the fuck? No. Hold on, like, I get that you're... Is this an Exit 8 situation? Man, it's been so long since we played Exit 8. Rip to that man. Our best friend in Exit 8. Alright, what am I doing here? I don't think I'm like, I understand that one way's the other way, but like... Is it the music? I feel like you're supposed to follow the music. Ah, there it is. I think I was just doing it back-to-back too much. Okay, not that one. No music playing. Some music, but not loud enough. No music. Not that one. This one. Okay, back we go. Oh. Oh no, game, please. Oh, it lagged for a second. I got so scared. This is a neat concept. Can I save? No, as far as I know. Yeah, this game just autosaves. Which is kind of was an issue for me for the first one, because I don't think autosaves are phenomenal. Yeah, we'll see what happens if I die in this area. I don't know where we'll respawn at. Can I make this jump? Oh, just barely. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, what the fuck? Oh, she's huge. Is that my best friend? Or is that when someone pretending to be my best friend? Give me. Give me that. Give me that. Hold my hand. Oh, best friend. Rip. Oh, I can call her. Oh, sad. She'll still come. Oh. Not the hammer, dude. No, I'm gonna give her the hammer. No, dude. Well, I think I'm gonna give this the hammer, but nonetheless. Damn. I think best friend was about the same at the end of the last game, from what I remember at least. They were not this big, that's for damn sure. Well, I think it's time for me to go. Be the ski doodle. Also, I don't think they've explicitly said that this is the same person. I mean, I guess you could infer, but like we also wear a rain hat at some point, and you never see anyone's face, so I wasn't immediately of that belief. It's like, it's a possibility, but I could definitely see them being like, oh, that's also just another bitch. That's also in a rain hat. Fuck, dude. Really? Ground slam? Now get off the wall, dude. Jesus. She's fast. Or they're fast. I don't know. I don't think they've really gendered anyone in the games from what I've seen, so I think everyone's a they. A they, them. Which valid. Yeah, that is true. It could be either not them, or yeah, the idea that they're, now that they've, oh my god, dude. Now that they've gotten big, they are like everyone else. Let me out! Fuck, dude. My best friend, if that is you. Oh shit! That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, yeah, they haven't said they haven't given anyone names in the game from where I'm at. That, I don't know if that's something they reveal later or not. They haven't named, no one has a name in this game. And no one, they haven't really discussed any genders. Oh, it's an outside revelation. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense then, because I was gonna say, yeah, they haven't said anything in game. That's why I was like, no clue about who's who or who's what. Who's on first, what's on second? Oh my god. Got it, ma'am. My bad. Sorry about that. I'll be going. Don't mind me. Oh my god, I did not think she was just gonna fucking smash me like that. Yeah, I feel like it's... I mean, do they even have... I mean, they might have a voice actor for this game, but I was gonna say, I think in the first game, the protagonist made zero noise. Yeah, very Pyramid-esque. What? Through the fucking doorway? Are you kidding me? God, dude. She's lashing out. It's not even my fault. Fast enough? Bruh, what? She's fucking, she's got 6 cents. 6 indeed. Don't be too crazy, don't be too crazy, don't be too crazy. She was like grabbing through the doors. I didn't think she'd be able to. Sad, dude. My best friend got eaten by the TV. And the suit man. Oh, we do this again? Okay. I guess. I keep thinking of The Shining during that bit. Oh my god, those hands reach right through and smash me. Dude, bruh, I hate her arms. Oh, fuck your long-ass arms, man. I hate you. Alright, we got this. Lock in. like trying to wait on the timing, but I swear she lunges and then in a millisecond her arm is all the way through the door. I should probably just leave the thing up there, maybe? Like, just get it closer? That's probably the way. But she's so fucking... or she's so fast. Oh, they made a comic? Interesting. I did not know that. I definitely have to bring the axe with me. Yeah, I think I agree. Yeah, I think I had it right the first time. I just gotta time it better. Hey, listen. Damn it. So I guess I gotta get the axe up there and then I think double back a little bit. Not what I was trying to do! Alright, almost. Boss fight of Little Nightmares, this feels like. Which is sad, it's my best friend, we're homies. Us to be beefing like this. Are you kidding me? She like nudged me on her way out. Ugh. There we go. Just run it in one go, I guess. Yeah, we're just beefing, and then we'll be cool. No worries. I'm not crying. You're crying. Hey, we're cool, right? We're friends. Besto friendo, right? Ha 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 ha. Please. Oh. Got it, okay. You're not cool with that. Got it. Oh, I see the hay just upsets her. Oh, okay. But only so much. Ugh, I hate that I have to, like, do this animation to get out every time. It's funny because I always think they need to like be more careful and do things in parts, but almost all of it you can just hit one go. Like that's actually the best timing somehow. Just the speed run, the lock-in, the one. Alright, come on. My best friend! You're back! I love you! Oh, my best friend! Don't be Mexican standoffing with me. That's spooky. Hold my hand. Oh shit, as usual, they just leave without me. They've done that to me all game. It's actually kind of funny. Aside from the fact that, like, a handful of times I die, you know? Oh my god, I hate that. Besto friendo, you're running really fast, and I can't run that fast, Besto friendo. Besto friendo, wait for me! Oh no, oh no. You're abandoning me, best friend, please. Bro, get up! No! Are they going to abandon me in my time of need? Oh, thank God. Pull me up, please. Come on. It's right behind us. What the hell are you doing? Hold me up! Bruh! Are you kidding me? That's my best. I just saved you! Why? We could have both lived. That was so unnecessary. Yo, fuck this friend. We are not best friends. We are enemies. Best friends to enemies. Dude, right? Yeah, fuck this bitch. Are you kidding? The fucking betrayal. Ew. Yucky. Dude, I can't believe that we did all that, just for them to fucking abandon. I thought they might snap on us and, like, kill us. But not, you know, sane sanity, I'm leaving you to die. Interesting. A chair. Yeah, the bare feet is, ugh, so gross. No, my boy. We worked so hard only for them to be betrayed. That's awful. It's fucked up. Dude, we literally fought the TV man, only to get dropped off a cliff by our best friend. They always look the same size to me, personally. I think the camera angle is just closer or further away. Okay, now we definitely grew. We're becoming an adult. Ugh, disgusting, disgusting, ugh. Peter Pan syndrome, stay young forever. They just left me to become an adult. What a terrible, terrible, terrible best friend. No! What? It was us the whole time? Are we the Hat Man? I think we're the TV man. Oh no. I was gonna say, yeah, is that a time paradox? Or is that like we're now the same guy we defeated? Like, I feel like that could be either or. Time paradox, or we've grown up to replace him. No wonder he's so skinny. He's not eating in that room. We didn't watch him eat once. He didn't eat a single time. No wonder he's so scrawny. Yeah, either time paradox or like the cycle repeats itself. Yeah, dude, big bad ending vibes. What the fuck is this ending? I don't want this. I want to hang out with my best friend and hold hands. Is that it? No. Oh, it is. My mouse came up. Oh, no. What the hell, man? That's fucked up. My best friend betrayed me. Big steals. Congratulations on being betrayed. But thank you, thank you. All right, we're so ready to go for 3 tomorrow then. Yippee. We'll be playing 3 tomorrow, probably in like, I don't know, 14-ish hours. Or so's? Or Sozin? Sozin's Comet? Oh, yeah, I could see like a time paradox thing that like he's trying to stop it because of the betrayal. I could see that. No. The audacity to betray us like that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What have we ever done? Oh, Thin Man. I see. Do you think the Thin Man likes Thin Mints? That's a favorite cookie of his, maybe? I can't believe we did all that just to be betrayed. Yo, apparently they're making a sequel to Paranorman. They're making a short film sequel. That's a pretty good TV show. Or movie if anyone hasn't seen it. It's like a spooky animated kids movie. Yeah, apparently it's a new thing coming out. Releases October 24th. I wonder how short a short film is. Oh, it's releasing with the film's re-release. Okay, so you're probably gonna watch the film, I bet, and then after they probably show you the short sequel film. That's pretty sick, though. Paranorman's great. Yeah, stop motion's really cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've heard, I think for, what is it? Wallace and Gromit, apparently the clay they use for that, there's like a finite amount in the world. Or like finite amount that they have, which is so sad. Oh, the Blue's Clues theory? I'll have to check that out later. Yeah. But yeah, I was like sad, dude. Wallace and Gromit is my favorite. I love Wallace and Gromit. That's the claymation about the guy and his dog, if anyone doesn't know that. That's like an old claymation. Wallace and Gromit's been around for so long. Super, super long. Well, Little Nightmares 1 complete, Little Nightmares 2 complete. They... Oh, I did hear that! Yeah, that they saved a cheese brand. I have heard that before, which is crazy, dude. Yo, W. Wallace and Gromit. Honestly. Ugh. Big yawn, sorry. Yeah, they do bring cheese to the moon. Yes, yes. Alright. Publishing the stream. Do the thing. I can't believe our little guy got betrayed. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. Wensleydale. They liked how toothy it was when saying it, so they went with it. Ah, I see. Yeah, you could give like, there's a different ending if you collect everything? Is that true? Is this like the bad ending? Was there actually 2 endings? Oh yeah, Wallace and Gromit has a lot of innuendos. It's pretty funny. Now I'm like, what the heck, dude? I didn't think collecting things would be that important. Alternate ending. Oh, there's a secret ending. I see. Okay. We can just watch it. It's like a minute and a half. Um, Thank you for letting me know. I had no clue that there was like other stuff. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna close the game. Not me just here in Bikini Bottom. Let me grab our window. Is it this one? Yes, it is this one. Oh my god, it's huge though, what the heck? It's massive. Alright, that should be good. And let me get out of the way. Scuff can stay on that side, that's fine. He can sit. Properties. Actually, oh, I guess I don't. Alright, this is fine. Alright, let's see how this goes. Let's see what this is. Let's see what's there to see, you know? What are the things to be seen? Oh, of course. Don't mind that in the corner. That bitch! That bitch! The betrayal! Yeah, fight your evil self, dude. Or your maybe not evil self if you're the evil one. Oh yeah, I see the flyer for the ship, yeah. Oh, I feel so mad knowing that we got them off the ship, now that we know of this betrayal. Scuff does have a TTS. I don't think I'd give him a toddler voice, personally. That's just, I'm not a big fan of children's voices, in other things, but, he does have a TTS. He's just the default TTS, though. Alright, so yeah, I guess that means that you come out of so then this is a prequel, which is what I thought it was. I did think it was a prequel, so I'm guessing she betrays you and then goes through the TV and then onto the ship? Onto the ship? Where we then, ugh, keep them safe. Ugh, but they don't deserve it. Not after what they did to us. Ugh. Terrible, evil. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of like children's voices saying things that they shouldn't personally. Um, I don't know. Like people who do like baby voices but then say inappropriate things. I'm like, I don't know. That just rubs me the wrong way personally. Um, I like to keep chill out, separate stuff. But yeah, thanks for watching Little Nightmares 2, y'all. I do appreciate it. We got through both of them, so we're ready to go for tomorrow. Um, David Attenborough, so it's educational. That would actually be so funny to have like a very regal, very high quality accent voice, very professional. Especially since he's scuffed, the irony would be too good. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, yo, for Little Nightmares 1 and Little Nightmares 2. We finished 1, what was it, on Sunday, and 2 now. Um, and so we will pick up 3 tomorrow. I'll add to the schedule. It's on the schedule right now. We were gonna do it Saturday, but I'm free tomorrow, so we will do it tomorrow. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, everyone. I do appreciate it. I hope you guys all had a good time hanging out. Um, Make sure you get some food, get some water, stretch your fins, stay hydrated, do all that good stuff. And I will hopefully be seeing y'all tomorrow. But if not, I will of course see y'all whenever I see y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for spending your evening with me. I hope you guys have a good rest of your time zone and a good sleep if you're sleeping. Yeah, of course, of course. Thanks for spending time with me. It's so cute because you guys are always like, thanks, but I'm like, no, thanks for being here and keeping me company and hanging out. It's the best part. Um, Otherwise I'm just yapping to me and Scuff. But yeah, thanks for spending the evening with me or your morning, whatever time zone it is for you. Make sure you get some food, get some sleep, get some stretches in, have a good swim. I shall hopefully see you all tomorrow, but if not, I'll see you when I see you. Have a good start to your weekend if I don't see you tomorrow. We'll be around Saturdays too, I think. I think Saturday too. And Sunday too. You think he's Morgan Freeman? That's wild. But yeah, thanks, Kois. Thanks, fishies. Have a good swim. I shall hopefully see y'all soon. Goodbye. Mm. Stay safe. I will catch you on the flip side.